Once they realize that there's no ceiling on inflation, they'll realize that there is a solid floor beneath both the gold price and the value of gold mining stocks. But the biggest gainer on the week was Bitcoin. Although it's hard to say because the week hasn't ended for Bitcoin, because while regular markets are closed, the Bitcoin market remains open 24/7, so it will continue to trade. Now, as I am recording this podcast, the price of Bitcoin is just under 51,000 per Bitcoin. That's a big move. In fact, a lot of that move happened today. In fact, all of that move, because a few hours earlier, Bitcoin was still trading around 48,500. In fact, today is the first day Bitcoin has traded above 50,000 in about 2 weeks. And I think this rally in large part resulted from a deliberate effort on the part of the Bitcoin whales to goose the Bitcoin price going into Christmas Day, because I think that people who have a vested interest in a rising Bitcoin price so they can sell what they've got, they want a lot of people talking to their friends and their family members this Christmas about their Bitcoin profits to try to entice more buyers to come in. And I think to do that, they want to have Bitcoin rising into Christmas Day. After all, if the price of Bitcoin were falling, that might have dampened the mood, and they want everybody feeling joyous about their unrealized Bitcoin profits when they see a lot of their family members that they haven't seen in a while, and they want to get these people into Bitcoin. Because again, this is a gigantic pyramid Ponzi type scheme, and it is completely dependent on new money flowing into the market, and having people feeling upbeat about their Bitcoin is a better way to do that. So in a very thin market, probably not too hard to drive the price higher. Plus, of course, in a week where risk assets did particularly well, as evidenced by the outperformance of the NASDAQ over the Dow, it's no wonder that Bitcoin did so well, because Bitcoin is a risk asset. And in fact, I was laughing. I was watching a discussion on CNBC's Fast Money, and all these guys are Bitcoin pumpers. They've all drunk the Kool-Aid. And one guy was pointing out how strongly Bitcoin was correlated to the NASDAQ, that it's now the highest correlation that he's seen in many, many months. And this apparently is a good thing, because it shows that if you want risk, you can buy Bitcoin. So if you believe that risk assets are going to go up, well, Bitcoin could give you the most bang for your buck. Now, of course, everybody has been marketing Bitcoin as a safe haven store of value, as digital gold. Well, if it was digital gold, it should somehow be correlated to gold. But if it's correlated to the NASDAQ, why don't they just call it the digital NASDAQ, right? It's not digital gold. If it's more highly correlated with tech stocks, then it's a digital stock. It's not digital gold. But admitting that Bitcoin is just a digital stock or digital property, which is the way a lot of people like to describe it, it's digital risk property as opposed to digital gold, which would be relatively low risk property, because gold is generally thought of as the risk off trade, as the inflation hedge, as an asset that you buy when you're worried about risky assets. If Bitcoin is the asset that you buy when you're bullish on risky assets, and you want to buy the riskiest asset of them all because you think that return is therefore correlated with risk, meaning the riskier the asset you buy, the more money you'll make if risk assets go up, how can you then describe Bitcoin as being a store of value and inflation hedge? And in fact, on the very panel where this guy is talking about how Bitcoin is highly correlated with the NASDAQ and is a great risk-on asset to buy in an environment where people are seeking risk and getting out of safe havens, I would have expected somebody to point out the inconsistency with that observation and the way Bitcoin is being marketed. But then somebody else on the panel said, I agree with you, but it's also a safe haven. It's also a store of value and inflation hedge. And, I almost fell off my chair, because look at the degree to which these guys are going to go out of their way to pump Bitcoin. They apparently think Bitcoin is both a risk on and a risk off asset at the same time. In other words, Bitcoin is the perfect asset as far as CNBC is concerned, because Bitcoin takes on the characteristics of whatever the buyer wants to believe. It's like a chameleon in that it kind of mimics whatever it happens to be on.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information, and it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now
I have bad news for you. If you're not rich by now, you're screwed. And if you're in debt, you're even double screwed. How so, you might wonder? Well, the sad truth is that you're working your whole life to make someone else rich. The mega corporations, the banks, the politicians, everyone is getting richer. They get your money. And what is even worse, they get your time, they get your life. You are not even in a rat race, you're in a financial prison. But what could a solution for you look like? Honestly, I don't know, but I know what a solution for me would look like. It's very simple. I use whatever money I have and I multiply it with 1,000. This could make my life much easier and probably yours as well. If you have $1,000 available and multiply this with 1,000, I believe that this could solve some financial issue for the one or the other. Of course, if you're ugly, you would have to multiply it with much more than 1,000. My name is Markus Dan, and this is what I decided to do. I decided to 1000x my money. This is not a joke. I know what you may be thinking. What is this guy talking about? How should this work? This is not possible. Well, I made a detailed video where I laid out my plan. And some clever folks might even want to look at this plan and copy it and do exactly what I do. This is just a little hint on the side. You have two options. You leave, you forget what you have seen. You do whatever you're doing and you hope that somehow you get some other results. Good luck with that. Or you click the link below the video. You enter your email address because I'm not showing this to everybody. You at least watch my video on how I plan to 1000x my money. The choice is yours. Make the right choice. Join me. See what a different future you could have. See at least how I intend, how I plan to do the 1000x. So click on the link below, enter your email address, and I see you on the other side. Your Markus Dan.